This is not really normally a video I would typically do on a regular basis, as you could already tell by the layout of everything that's being set up. But I feel like now has been a good time to really come out about this certain issue publicly and fully explain everything in the best details that I can lay out to each and every one of y'all that may be watching. So we can all possibly have a mutual understanding from both parties here. But to really kind of get on to the main topic, this is something we gotta take a lot of steps back on to really get a foundation on where this all started. So, starting back on July of last year in 2021, this was at a time when I was doing overtime in my schoolwork course. This was at a time when I was falling a bit behind, and it was almost like online summer school for me, as you most of y'all may call it. There was a lot of mental drain for me then. It was not a pleasant time for me. It was mentally draining. It brought me down to a lot of lows that I stooped. This was when, at the time, I of course had the support of my closest friends and mutuals, but of course from one of my closest friends, Brianna EXC, who at the time I was in a relationship with. This was at the time when, at the start of July, I stooped at such a horrible low that I brought up to her the suggestion of role plays, and not just any in particular, but provocative ones, which gradually became worse and worse over time. This was when, after a solid month passed, it just became more and more of an addiction to me, like a drug, like meth. It just became like such an addictive drug to me. I didn't know when to stop finding the first opportunity to get myself into those and to really partake in those lewd activities. That's when, from there, when October went around, that's when we became a lot more distant. And that's when I thought it would be nice to take a hiatus in November, because since I was visiting family out of state anyways, I thought that it would be a nice time to really clear my head, and so I could find the right time to really make things up with Bray. And so I wouldn't continue to stoop that much of a low after a lot of distancing from off of social media. But it did the opposite. I had a suicide attempt in at the very end of November that I stupidly posted when I had reached such a snapping point, a huge breaking point that I had no clearance or thought process of what I was doing at the time of that when that was posted. And that's when, after that was deleted, that's when the 1st of December came, that's when we parted ways and she decided to separate from me, to break up. From there, I was completely lost. I had a lot of doubt and questioning in my mind. And I knew from there, you know what? I really need to take the time to really habilitate myself, to really do myself good after all the shit I did, all the shit I caused, to whom I've affected and have hurt from my shitty decisions, from my poor actions. That's when I took a good solid 3 months from December to February as almost like a rehabilitation, almost like rehab for me, like rehab training to really sort myself out and to find the right time and the right place to really send things off mutually on a good note. That's when, from there, on either the 11th or 12th of February, that's when both me and Brianna EXC sent it off on a mutual agreement and found an established boundary between each other. From there, I was slowly building myself back up, getting my ties reconnected with some people that I've let down, And I thought from there the boat was going to sail smoothly for things. I thought, hey, the sail's being lifted, the raft's being let afloat, and it didn't seem like there was going to be any choppy waters or huge tsunami sized waves coming at me from there, because I thought, things were doing well. Things were going good. And, we had set off on a mutual agreement, and we were slowly building things back up for the better for each other, anyways. But that's when karma decided to come back and beat my ass to the ground. This was at during mid of August. I saw that both my PFP and name was changed, and my stats had been completely erased from existence. And I thought, oh shit, did I get hacked or something? So when I decided to check, yeah, I did see that there was a breach in my account, that there was an outside access. And that's when I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do some password changes. I'm gonna have to reset a few things so that this doesn't happen again. By the way, everything you'll see that I'm gonna be explaining, any screenshots that I need to provide will be shown as I'm explaining everything, just so that you have some clearance of where I'm coming from with all this. Now, I was not able to get a screenshot of when they changed my Twitter name specifically, but only when they had my status, my bio, anyways, my bio cleared and my PFP changed. So after a good few password resets and confirmations, after about like a few weeks later, that's when things started to take a huge 180 and go completely south. When I thought that this this change on my Twitter was from a bot, this was from an actual person, a doxer. They had messaged me on Discord first with spamming my tag, and from there I thought, why not just like play dumb with him so that he gets agitated and so he leaves me alone. But from there, like after what they started to show me, what they started to some of the screenshots and some of the information they obtained, which I'm still appalled on how. That's when from there I really had to stop taking bluffs and doubling down. Some of the things they presented was not only an invasion and threat to my safety and privacy, but to also Brianna's and several others too. They shared a video on their channel that was recently made. The day that they showed me their channel was recently made. That was an exposed, was a slander meme that showed basically all the screenshots this person had, with some of the empty death threats that they sent me, the same with the same petty responses they kept, the same petty threats they started throwing at me and used as hits towards me. I thought, you know what? Go ahead, see what that does for you. And from there, that's when they did make the video go public, because before the video was private. If I didn't mention that already, the video was private. The video was unlisted, and they had threatened that if I didn't send them what they want, which was others' information, they would make the video go public. And when I had doubled down on their supposed bluff, well, they were true on their word. They were good on their word. They made it public. That's when I was just at a conflicting point. At that point, when I informed Brianna about the video, that's when she was at a loss for words, which I'm not surprised. Anyone would, when they have their information just completely leaked just like that out of the blue, and then one of their friends just comes in, like, again, out of the blue, like out of nowhere, saying, hey, this video has information of us. This video just leaked and exposed a bunch of private info. You yourself would be speechless. Hell, I would. I too was speechless when I first saw that video. I was at a loss for words, and even so, with some of the information they obtained. I was at a loss for words, and I was just completely speechless. I was flabbergasted, if you will, and it was it was anxiety driven. There were a lot of there were a lot of paranoia filled days that I had since they first started DMing me on Discord. That's when I started showing those to a few of my most trusted to then have the video reported. And then like after almost like a good 24 hours, their channel got terminated and the video was taken down. And I thought I had a sigh of relief. I thought, thank goodness, thank God, it's gone. And they're gonna be all that's gonna be expected of them to send me now is just a whole bunch of empty threats, petty insults, a whole bunch of middle school insults at me. Because at first, when they showed the video that they had unlisted, I was seeing that both my Discord account and email were going all over the place. Both those accounts were logged into from an outside PC, from an outside source. And that's when I knew, oh shit. I had no doubt in my mind from there where they got the rest of that information that they showed exclusively on that video that they sent, that they published. And from there, after when the video was taken down, that's when I was at a mental breaking point. I had a lot of bad headspace. My headspace recently as well, in a pile of horse shit. And I did have several attempts of suicide, of kicking the bucket. I knew that this garbage can of a human being that was continuously not giving me a single break, just draining me mentally. Even though I had blocked him on both his main and alt, they were not giving me a goddamn break. They just would not give me a break. And I thought too, you know what? Let's ignore him, see what he does. And that's when I only knew from there they were just going to obtain more and more information that they could use out of context to put me under a bad light, which I already am. Hell, just for uploading this video, I'm probably already under a horrible spotlight to some of y'all that have many, and I mean many, mixed reactions, which I will get to that here in a bit. But from there, I thought, you know what? This person is just not gonna have a break in their mind to back off. And so after my 2 different kicking the bucket attempts, one of my other separate emails that that I had anyways for for an alt account that I would roleplay on for one of my characters, for one of my series characters got hacked as well, got logged into by you know who. And so that's when from there they instead of just making their account, no, they would just go for my alt. They would just go for my other email and they would just dig through what was in there when literally there's absolutely nothing in there that he could use other than just log into that account, that Twitter account, and make it their own. And so that's when from there again, this is going to be bringing a lot of mixed reactions, and I do not blame any of y'all in the slightest. I really do not. From there, that's when I had the bright idea of saying, you know what? If this person really wants me dead for sexting Brianna EXC, and I thought, you know what? Let's make him believe that I actually went ahead and kicked the bucket. Let's make him think, which you're about to see right now. Let's make him think that I actually went ahead and offed myself. That's when he started rummaging around through the other Twitter account and bragging about saying how I died with what you're about to see now on their on what they started posting. And really, that was the whole point of this. That and really, this was the whole point of this plan, was to make him. And again, this is what I'm going to bring up here in a bit. The main purpose of this plan was to make him believe, to make this doxer believe, this hacker believe that I went ahead and offed myself. It was so that his confidence could spike up all the way to the roof and that his guard would be let down completely. And so from there, when I thought it's gonna bring panic, it's gonna bring a lot of fear, it's gonna bring a lot it's gonna bring a lot of paranoia to several others, that I may let down from this, and that I should have said something about this privately so that they know that this was all just a plan for this doxer to lower their guard so that their ass could get booted off from Twitter and even their Discord. From there, I thought it had to be the way it had to be. And so from there, when this video is getting uploaded, as this video is getting uploaded and shared to that doxer, by the way, if you're watching, you know who you are. From there, things have been settled out, and you now know why I've been quiet for the entirety of this week. Now, onto the topic of some of my shitty actions that I did towards Brianna Ixie. Those are actions that I can never, and I mean never, take back. They are choices of mine that were completely wrong of me. And even when I knew at the time that it was wrong of me to do, I kept coming back for more and more and more. I didn't know how to stop. For the first opportunity that there was to get into lewd, provocative activities, to get into those lewd, provocative role plays with Brianna. Just like a drug, just like an addictive drug. They aren't actions that they aren't actions that not a lot of people can forget. They're unforgettable to some. And I know that they are unforgettable to Brianna. That they are unforgettable to her. I knew that after our separation in December, I really had to build myself back up. There was just no other way around it. I had to set myself straight. And so from there, from one of my best bros and greatest friends, Impulse, which I'll link their Twitter in the description, when he got me through so much conflicting pain and just loss of words. When I had my other offing attempt in December, when we was in a VC together, I have him to thank for helping me to get back on my feet and to set things straight for myself. He has my many thanks. And still, to this day, Impulse, if you're watching this, you have my deepest and biggest thanks. Hell, I owe you. Now, does this mean I deserve all the sympathy from each and every one of you that's watching? No. Does this mean that this doxer should get all the credit for, quote unquote, exposing that private information that he obtained? Absolutely not. Both sides were wrong. Mine and his. Since February, I wanted to keep those disgusting, provocative actions that I made last year behind me and not let them define me for the kind of person that I am now, that I've grown and matured to be. And since then, I've had a conflicting point with myself. Since February, since this doxer came around to start making things a living hell for everyone else, I've had a conflicting point that the care that I've given, the work I put to set myself back up was for nothing. That everyone, that especially Brie as well, that mostly everyone had treated it like it was nothing, that was meaningless, that no matter how hard I had worked to make good of myself, I was just always going to be seen as a disgusting groomer from 2021. That no matter what, that's all I was going to be seen as and possibly remembered for. And hell, even seen as to this day. No matter how many people look at me, no matter how many people see me, that they were just always going to be seeing me as a disgusting groomer. That as just a horrid, lewd sexter. And some of y'all may say that I'm irredeemable, and I don't blame y'all. That I should be treated like a criminal. The majority are irredeemable if they don't do anything. If they don't have a care in their mind to make good of themselves and to set things straight. But since December, that's all I've wanted. To set things straight for not only myself, and not just for my sake and my own privacy, but for those I've affected and hurt from this. And especially to Brianna, that I've put under tremendous, tremendous pressure and anxiousness. I could not be more sorry, and I can never take back those horrid actions, those provocative, disgusting actions. I can never take them back. Never. But since February, the best that I could do was to show and continuously try to prove that I've left all of that behind me. That I've grown and matured from that. That not a single day, not one day, I had woken up to and fallen asleep to the next without feeling a single ounce of regret. There's not one day that I have not felt a single ounce of regret. Consistently. It seemed like I had to have a reminder of how horrible I was back then. And I had to only be seen for the bad side of me. Now, some of y'all can take this with a grain of salt or with all the sympathy you have to give in your heart. The choice is, of course, yours. You have the right to decide what you think from all this, from not just my stance on this, but from all the other parties that were involved. Some of y'all may think I have grown and matured since then. Some of y'all may not, and that I deserve more and more pain. That I need more to really get through my thick skull. That's to be expected. And that's just something too, that sometimes the things that we're mostly anxious and afraid to see, to get ourselves involved with, is what can really bring out the worst of the worst with us. Despite all the work that I put in just to do good for myself, just so I could have myself set back up, just to have full reassurance that from there I was going to do good, and that I was not just going to be seen. I was not going to be viewed as all because of my horrible actions from 2021. That's what brought the worst out of me, and I know that for several others too, that may not have the best way of and really, it's just when I rarely get any response back, or when I'm just left on red, it's just them distancing themselves so that they can find the right words to say to me. Not just that as well, but other several factors that have contributed to my downfall, that led to me bringing out my demons physically for most to see, especially Brianna, with those horrid actions that I caused. There are redeeming qualities, people, and I just hope that from this video alone, from everything that you've just watched, everything you've just heard, you're given a standpoint. You can find a standpoint on this however you see it, however you view it. I've said what I need to say, and again, I can never take back those hard actions from 2021, and they can never be forgotten by a few. But at least I can continue to grow and mature for the better from them, and just hope and pray to God that that's not all I'm seen as, and that I can continue after everything's cleared up and everything's settled. I can continue to do what I've always enjoyed doing for y'all. Making content, just having a nice laugh, and bringing something to the table for y'all to enjoy. So, other than that, I'll leave it here for y'all to think, for y'all to have a standpoint, and I wish each and every one of y'all a good day, a good afternoon, a good night, whatever time you're watching this at. I wish y'all nothing but the best. I just wish to say as well that to all of you that I have brought panic and paranoia to from this plan that some of y'all may consider barbaric and not the wisest thing to do, I heavily apologize. And there's of course going to be a lot of mixed reactions from this. Like I said earlier, that's to be expected. And again, some of y'all may not think this was the best or wisest plan to do that. I could have probably done things differently. That's true. There are things I could have done differently, but at least you all know that I'm well, I'm alive, I'm breathing. And so that this would finally all be cleared up. And so I wouldn't have to keep playing dead. I wouldn't have to keep playing dead like a dog. Just so that this garbage can of a human being can inevitably possibly continue doing worse and also impact a lot of people on a long-term effect for the worst. Take care, and I'll see y'all in the next video. See y'all.